Throughout reading the Heidi Roizen case, there were 5 main themes that stood out. The first being her personality. She was outgoing, down to earth, and always looking to meet new, interesting people. This is evident by all of the past quotes from contacts, friends, coworkers, saying how great she was to work with and that she brought a wealth of knowledge and value to the table. It's no surprise that this was her first step in the door. After a friend passed on the number for the hiring manager at Tandem, she made a cold call on a Saturday, which ended up being an informal conversation that led to a job. Her position as the editor for the company newsletter gave her access to corporate meetings, all the information that flowed through the company, as well as important issues, and it gave her a reason to have meaningful conversations with top-line executives as well as administrative staff and anyone in between. From there, it was really her passion that carried her career. During her time with TeamMaker, her brother and herself were pushing the software into both the Mac and PC markets. She had to really fight to get the company to prosper. So she went out, she made contacts with the press, she went to conferences, she went to every event that she could and used each 5-minute conversation to make a memorable impact. From there, she went to Apple, a company that she liked, respected, and wanted to see prosper. She used past contacts to put together the collage of testimonials for the Wall Street Journal ad, and she used her technique at building connections to shore up the relations with all the software developers that they really needed at that time. Afterwards, it's really her experience that kind of carried the momentum of her career. As a mentor capitalist and a venture capitalist, she could trade her experience, her knowledge, her time, and just coach in exchange for a stake in whatever startup that she was working with, instead of having to put up some kind of financial backing. To have that kind of valuable knowledge really says a lot, that she doesn't have to put up any money, and instead all they want is her to be part of their project. Moving into the venture capitalist, it was more building relationships, helping find the right startups to fund, and then helping them to really get on their feet and maybe connecting them with someone else that they needed to. They brought her in mostly for her experience and for her wealth of reach across the industry. To round off, she really did focus on performance as well as her consistency. She wanted everyone to know that she was dependable, that if you asked for a favor or she made a promise, she would make good on it, and that the results would be the same quality and a star effort every time. She was big on reciprocity. Any favor that she asked for or gave was expected to be a kind of a debit credit account. Not so much a matcher as described in Adam Grant's book Give and Take, but more as the otherish giver. You would give and give forward as well as give back, but you would also hope that that relationship was there so that it could be back and forth. It was a give and take, pretty much, to quote his book. As for the article Harnessing the Power of Persuasion, she very much used all 6 of the principles discussed. Her likability was commented on multiple times in the case literature, so she's got that one covered. Her social proof, after watching her work and how she mentored and the results that she got and the results that people that worked with her got, it was only natural for a culture to kind of create itself around her. Those that she helped would know the benefit of being an otherish giver and doing that 5-minute favor, and it would just kind of spread from there. She very much worked on being consistent so that everyone knew she was dependable, so there were no doubts as to whether or not she would come through. Apple and SoftBook brought her in because of her knowledge and her effort and her contacts, so the principle of authority was no question there. Her scarcity pretty much covers just the network. She had such a broad range of contacts that nobody else really had access to all of them or such a diverse group. So they would bring her in just so they would have access to that through her. The article over building your network, it's not who you know, but how you know them. She met people at the grocery store, at the gym, through dinner parties, through work, through conferences, through her time with the Software Publication Association. She spent so much time and energy just meeting people and developing her reach. At least from the case literature, that's what it appears to be. As she got more committed to the venture capitalist role, she had to pull back from maintaining such a direct contact to each of her resources. So she started focusing on the nuclei of each network constellation, building stronger and deeper ties to the center of each circle so that she could have the same breadth of contacts while still being able to minimize the amount of effort put into it so that she could focus more on her occupation as coach and mentor to each of the startups that they were funding. She really did work as a super connector. She brought so many people together. She focused on making sure everything was a win-win. If it wasn't beneficial for both sides, then it wasn't happening. It was the same with all of her contacts. If it wasn't going to benefit her and the other person, then they were going to call it quits or work on it. But her ability to network and use every resource available to help herself as well as her coworkers and each company she worked for is something to be learned from, for sure.